Just like every fantasy football season, it's a roller coaster of results when it comes to these players. Some of these players are highly drafted or in the middle rounds, and they're up and down throughout the season. Some of them start off slow, some of them don't hit at all, and they are declared as bust. One player that has not been hitting this year is Najee Harris. He has not been producing in the box score to help fantasy gamers get those wins, and a lot of people are wondering why and what to look for. So we're going to dig into the advanced metrics, look at the stats, and see what's going on with him and the Pittsburgh Steelers. But before we do, you need to click that subscribe button right now. Give it a tap with the finger on your phone. Click it with your mouse. Stop missing on these deep dives. We cover the waiver wire extensively so you can catch those deep plays, those hard-to-find players, those under-the-radar players you don't even know about, so you can get the metrics on those. We help you set your lineups. We help you make those trades. We help you win your leagues. Click that button. Stop missing out. So let's take a look at Najee Harris. What has he been up to? So looking at the season for him, Game 1, 5 points. Game 2, 5.3. Game 3, 6.5. Game 4 got you a little bit of production here with 11.3 fantasy points. And then on yesterday against Baltimore, 5 fantasy points. And the snap share is not through the roof, as you see 50s and 49 and 56. So about a 55% snap share or so. We'll cover that more later in this video. But we don't have a 100-yard performance yet. We're not getting much in the passing game. It's not looking great statistically. The production's not there. And a lot of fantasy gamers are wondering what they should be doing with Najee Harris. And then looking at his PPR scoring from 2021 to now. From 2021 to now, you see a big dip between 2023 all the way to 2021. It's been slowly going down here. 2022, though, he played a lot of that through injury, so you kind of gave him some credibility back going back into this year, but it's still not looking good. The volume's starting to decrease some, and we're not back to what we saw in 2021. It's totally different now. He doesn't have the same pop in the step when you watch him on the field. The numbers are not carrying over. We have one double-digit PPR fantasy performance. However, last year we had some production. We had some things going on that was good last year still. But if you remember last year and how people felt about him, they were down on him as well. And we're getting even less this year. Now we're looking at the opportunities. And this is where the rubber hits the road as you're seeing him get less of a workload here. His best game was 19 in opportunity. That is touches and targets. Last year, 24, 25, 25, 24. Last 4 games, lowest game, 15, 11. So, really, he's pushing his lowest threshold or the lowest part of 2022 most of this year. He's not getting the same amount of opportunities to score fantasy points, to get the ball, to be able to give you that production. Looking at the snaps here, we're at 33-ish per game, 30 to 33, 29 on the low on week 4, 37 on week 5, which is the highest all season. But still, it's not grandiose, not what you want out of a running back that you drafted that high. 31 snaps per game isn't the greatest here. Looking at some other things here, this is with week 5 included, 53% snap share, 52.9% opportunity share. So he's really getting the opportunity share of somebody in a committee, somebody who's in a backup role that's getting a good bit of touches for being a backup. He's not getting top end work here. 1.8 targets per game. The passing game can really help a running back in fantasy production, and he's not getting it. He's not getting those opportunities. Running 12 routes per game, that doesn't get it done. That's not going to buoy your fantasy performances or give you those opportunities. And then the run grades to the left here on the bottom of the screen, that's placed under me. You got 70 as the high, but really he's placing in the low 60s per PFF. Something to notice there, and we see him on the field here. It's not looking great. 3.24 yards after contact per attempt, though, so not too horrible. Remember, 4.57 speed, 85th percentile speed score. We're talking about a 230-pound back who's got some gusto. He's made some highlights in his career, but right now, we're on the down end. But really, when you think about it, the Steelers' offensive line hasn't been living up to it as well. They got a 54.6 run block grade, 22nd in the league here. 1.2 yards before contact. That's 6th worst among running backs with 60 or more carries on the season. So his situation isn't going his way either to allow him to be productive, allow him to do the things that he's good at, making it really hard for him to turn things around. And then looking at Jaylen Warren, he's playing pretty good. He looks like he's got some pop in his step. He's being used a lot more in the passing game, even though he's running the same amount of routes per game. He's getting 5 targets per game. He is getting a lot of volume in the passing game compared to how many routes he's running. He's also getting a 15.7% target share, which is very good for a running back. 45.1% opportunity share. He's supposed to be the backup or 1B to this team, but really, he's inching up more with touches and snaps per game over these last few weeks, and he's earning some opportunity. 2.53 yards after contact per attempt, 124 rushing yards on the season, but still, we're seeing him get some volume as we're seeing the snap share increase game by game and getting more opportunity game by game. Looking at his snaps by the game, 25, 23, then it jumps up 28, 29. Then we get a 49% snap share yesterday. We're seeing him get some more workload in this offense. Him getting more workload in this offense means that Najee Harris is getting a little bit less because only one person can touch the ball. Warren's getting more snaps, more opportunities. Warren's earning that, especially with how good he's been used in the passing game, how electric he's been looking. And this has become a huge mess, really, for both running backs, as either one of them are struggling to hit their upside. We kind of need one of them to just take a stranglehold of this so we can see a running back just hit some upside. Looking at the offense, though, this isn't helping much either. 58 plays per game, 31 pass attempts to 27 run attempts per game. They're 24th in plays ran per game in 2023. So we're running less plays, which means there's less opportunity for players in this offense, not just these two running backs, but the wide receivers, the tight ends, everybody involved to score fantasy points. If they're running 66, 70, 72 plays per game, then there's more opportunities. There's at least a couple more per game these running backs could be getting, but since there's no plays ran, there's even less that they are getting. And then when you look at the pie here, total team opportunity, Najee Harris is getting a 26% share, which isn't too high considering Warren's also getting a 22% share. Those numbers are up into week 4 because the data has not circulated in all the tools yet. But still, looking at the rushing yards, 247 for Harris, 124 for Warren. And then looking at the yards per attempt, both are under 4. So really, it's not grandiose. It's not the greatest show on turf or anything like that. But with less of a workload here, it's going to be hard for any running back to get the job done because the workload is impacted due to less plays ran per game, offensive line not holding up to their end of the bargain, Najee Harris really not looking like Najee Harris of old, also Warren stealing some opportunities. So all this together, you're getting some games where you're getting like 5, 6 fantasy points per game. You'll catch some other games where you hit double digits, but that's just creating those inconsistencies. And then we look at the schedule here, and look going forward, we don't have too many great matchups where it can fuel Najee Harris. Looking to the left here, we have some matchups that were kind of nasty. San Francisco, Cleveland, Baltimore, some good run defenses, but we have more good run defenses coming up. Pittsburgh has been very sketchy this year. They got 3 wins. They're 3-2. So that's good in the win column. But still, for fantasy football, we need Najee Harris to get more opportunities. We need him to get more touches. We need the offensive line to do a little bit better. And we also need this offense to run more plays, be more explosive. That's a lot of things to go on there for him to turn things around. However, we could see him deliver some spot production. Should you drop him? That's if you want lottery tickets. That's if you want to do so. My thought is when I think about him, when you release him into the wild, you're releasing a running back here that if something happens to Warren, all of a sudden gets the offense to himself. Used to be an RB1 before, will probably give you really good results if he has a much bigger workload. So that's not much different than a lot of these jabroni running backs who are sitting on waivers. So you can look at 2 stories here. You already got a good jabroni running back that you know what you're getting if the dominoes fall his way. However, there's other guys here, these mystery boxes, and we've seen some of these guys hit like a Devin A-Chain and stuff, but some of these guys also fall on their face like a Matt Breida. I don't feel good really releasing him to the waiver wire. However, if I have less than one win, I don't care. I'm throwing shit against the wall, seeing what happens. But if I'm in it, you may want to just hold on tight for a little bit longer, see what happens. But really depends on what's there, how you're feeling about your team, how you're feeling about the rest of the running backs on your roster, and look at him as maybe like another handcuffed running back going forward and see if he gets more opportunity in the next few weeks. That's why you probably shouldn't drop him, because if something happens to Jaylen Warren, then maybe you're back in the green. Maybe you're coming back. We're only 5 weeks into the season. Things can turn around really quickly. All it takes is a couple instances. However, if I'm a losing team, I don't have any wins. I got 1 win. Maybe I got 2 wins and I don't feel good about my team. You got to take some gambles. You got to take some gambles. You got to do something and look at some of these players on your roster who haven't been hitting. Look at the waiver wire. You're going to have to do something, because this is a sprint to the finish right now. If you lose any more games, you're really going to be hurting. You're really going to have to crawl yourself back up. Maybe you got to take some gambles. Maybe you do take some L's, but you'd rather take some L's shooting your bullets off than it is holding pat and just hoping for the best. So with that standpoint, if I'm hurting, then I'm making a move quick. If I'm good to go and I feel good about my team, I'm holding pat, seeing what happens, because I look at them as some of the other running backs there anyways. If the dominoes falls away, if something happens to Jaylen Warren, if the offense starts getting a little bit faster, those opportunities could ignite a flame where he gets you a run of production, where early in the season something could happen still. So it's hard to really pony that up. He's also rostered in most leagues too. So really, you could probably trade him if it's hurting you that bad as well. Test the market, see what comes back at you. But let me know what you think in the comments, what you think about Najee Harris. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Catch you on the next video.